This is the first episode of 2026, so Happy New Year. I'm kicking off with this episode to help you start the year as you mean to go on in a way where you aren't always on the treadmill of chasing more clients, although that might be what you need right now for growth, but by looking at how you can get more out of the clients that you have, because that can also lead to growth. I often speak to people about optimizing what they have in front of them because it's the area that we often neglect. When we want more, we think we need more and that we need to be doing more. Now, this question actually came from a brilliant member of my Facebook group, my free Facebook group called Upgrade Your Education Business. Normally, I'd create a quick video reply or I'd go live, but I think this topic deserves a deeper dive, so here we are. If you want to attract repeat business, whether you're a tutor, a resource creator, an education consultant, you'll walk away with some practical ideas that suit your style of working. And if we're meeting for the first time, welcome to the podcast. I'm Sumantha, and I really specialise in helping tutors and other people in the education space build businesses that are lucrative whilst protecting their time so it's sustainable. And when we think of repeat customers, this is a really important factor of getting sales and making things lucrative in a sustainable way for the long term. Before we get into specific strategies, it's really worth remembering that repeat business looks different for everyone, and you need to work out what it looks like for you. For one person, it could mean a parent returning with a sibling. For someone else, it could be a school placing another order or a client booking for another round of mentoring or for another cohort. The strategies I'm about to share are flexible. You can mold them to fit your business, your model, and your values. And before we dive in, here's something to keep in mind. Getting repeat business doesn't always come down to big marketing moves or fancy funnels. Often it's the small intentional things we do that make people want to come back. Sometimes it's down to relationships. So whether you use one or all of these ideas, think about how they align with you, how you want to work, and how you want your clients to feel. So the first one is to think about the experience and how can you make it feel good from start to finish. Repeat business often starts before someone becomes a client because that first impression matters. Really simple systems like I use Calendly for calls or sending confirmation emails. Just little things can immediately show people that they're in good hands, even though they haven't started working with you. It builds confidence and trust. After they become a client, think about how you can deliver your offer and how easy you want to make it to work with you. A clear onboarding process, flexible payment options, easy to access resources. I created my business to reflect what I wanted as a client, and that meant no long, lengthy tie-ins and flexible booking and a streamlined learning space, whether it's inside the mastermind or inside my one-to-one program. It's these small things that encourage that trust. And the thing to remember is that we remember experiences. How many times have you bought something and maybe it hasn't quite worked out? And it's been a nightmare trying to liaise with customer service and so on. Whereas the minute it's really smooth, that's it, they've got your loyalty because you remember those experiences. When you work with someone, you remember the experiences of what it was like to onboard with them. You don't associate them with confusion. You want people to associate you with clarity, with confidence, all of those great words. So think about the experience, think about the very small touches. One of my clients, and I actually adopted this after speaking to her, one of my clients often keeps in touch at regular intervals, actually, with past students. And she actually does it just as a nice thing to do. She works with them similar to me for a very long time. So it's a really nice way of continuing that relationship. But off the back of that, it's been this little nudge, this little reminder where they have said, actually, do you know what? I was actually thinking of getting a tutor for my youngest. Would you be available? And it's also helped things like word of mouth. So relationship building goes a really long way, as well as all those small little tweaks. And that really links to number 2, which is about staying on people's radars. Don't wait until someone disappears to try and bring them back. Try and keep in touch. So things like newsletters, email sequences, Facebook communities, following up after a discovery call with helpful resources, or following up later on, like I was saying, to check in with past clients. Think of it as continuing the conversation. Now, although I'm talking about repeat clients, using things like this is really good for people who maybe aren't sure about working with you. They're the maybes. It's a really good place to keep in touch with people if maybe they want to work with you, but right now isn't the right time. So think of it as continuing a conversation you've already started. I often keep in touch with past clients, and they might ask me questions, or I might have recorded a podcast episode and I thought of them and I sent it over to them. So I'm not doing that with an agenda, with any strategy in mind, but very naturally that relationship leads to repeat business. It's a very natural part of that process. The third thing is to think about how you can really look after your clients. One of my bugbears about, organizations in general, is when they have exclusive offers for new clients that are better than the deal that existing clients get. Now, I do understand that sometimes there's this special signing on bonus and you get, 2 months at a discount and stuff like that. I don't mind. But when you feel like the person you're paying or the organization you're paying actually values getting a sale over looking after you, it can really degrade that relationship. Whereas, as I was saying earlier, we all remember experiences. If you feel really valued, if you feel like your loyalty was really valued, you're more likely to stay loyal. You're more likely to come back to that person or to that organization. You're more likely to recommend them. So whether you're going down the route of discounts or exclusive perks, whatever you choose, they can work really well when you position them thoughtfully. So rather than seeing them as a sales tactic, you can see them as a kind of thank you present. So for example, for many years, my masterminders, the people in my membership, the Tutors Mastermind, they got exclusive discounts. I mean, they still do. My bespoke one-to-one clients, they get complimentary access to the Tutors Mastermind. And it's my way of making sure that they're getting everything they need, but also to make sure that they feel safe working with me. They don't feel like, well, I've already invested in you and now you're asking me to buy something else. So that little touch of really valuing your customers goes a really long way. And something I always think is that I shouldn't be able to talk about all the things I do with my customers online because there's too much. And when I know that that's what I'm doing, I know I've got the balance right. So there's loads of things that go on inside the mastermind. There's loads of things that I do inside my one-to-one program that I don't even mention in discovery calls because it would just be too much. But I do it anyway because I value the customers that I'm working with. And I hope that they feel valued. So in my experience, this has led to repeat customers. Whether it's tuition or whether it's business coaching, I tend to work with people for a really long time, and sometimes it's on and off because they come back. And one thing that I've always really focused on is the experience that they have and how I'm treating them. I want to make sure they feel really, really valued because they are. So these kinds of things, they're not about devaluing your offer. They're about giving people a reason to stay or invest more deeply because they feel appreciated. So think about what fits your business. Could a returning client get early access to something, a small bonus, a loyalty offer? Choose what feels right without undermining the value that you provide. My fourth one is to create a follow-on or complementary offers. Now, this won't apply to every single business, but it does actually apply to most. Consider ways you can keep supporting clients after the main work is done or after they have finished with you on a particular transformation. Because the reality is that if they need more support and they've already worked with you and they're really happy, if they could, they would much rather carry on working with you rather than going elsewhere. So have a think about the ongoing support that your students might need when you feel like they naturally come to an end. I'll give you an example, one where you might think, well, it's not possible for me. So I teach up to GCSEs. After that, my students leave. Now, that's a really natural end. I don't teach A-levels, so if they carry on to A-levels, it wouldn't make sense for me to be their tutor. But I know that I'm providing more than just the academic side. I know that we talk about mindset, we talk about study techniques, we talk about exam skills, we talk about mindset and the nerves that come with exams, all of those things. So if I really thought about it and if I wanted to, I could potentially continue supporting them, but from a very different angle. It wouldn't even necessarily need to look like online lessons where it needs my live input. Maybe they invest in resources that I have that's going to help them continue on their journey. So it's a way of keeping people for longer and getting the repeat clients because they want to keep working with you. You're creating a win-win situation here. You want to keep working with them, they want to keep working with you, and so you've made provision for that. And you can actually do this around your offer as well. You don't have to put this at the point where someone might naturally leave. So all of this works really well when it complements the core thing that you offer or the core transformation, the impact that you make, rather than distracting from it. So I'm not talking about saying, what else can I offer? Let me maybe teach this and that and a different subject. I'm not talking about distracting and diluting. I'm talking about enhancing and enriching how you're already supporting your clients. Okay, now I've been quite snappy in this episode and shared some really quick tips. So I'm going to stop there because I want you to actually take action. So I'll do a quick summary. The ways that you could attract repeat clients and just adapt these to suit you is firstly, create a really great experience from the very first contact to final delivery. So you're not waiting until they onboard, even before then. Stay on people's radar, be really intentional with useful follow-ups, and offer well-placed perks to show appreciation and to increase loyalty. Think about complementary offers that very naturally extend the relationship, extend the impact that you make. All of this comes back to designing a business that works for you and feels really good for you and your clients. You don't need to do everything at once. Just choose one area to refine or add to and just build from there. So thank you as always for listening. You'll hear from me on Wednesday for a short mindset episode. And if you have a quick moment, please do take a moment to leave a review. And if you're watching on YouTube, then hit the subscribe button.